Paul Mauro. I know you want to stop working and retire. I'm here to help you, and if you stay to the end of this video, you'll have an opportunity to get a little coaching on how to retire early and retire often. I know, because I did it. So let's talk about REO, retire early and often. It's a system that I used, and now that I'm doing this educational video thing, I'm happy to do some coaching about that for those of you that want to get out. I know some of you just hate your jobs or you hate the stress of it and you want to break free. I get it. But one thing for sure is that taking 30 years with one employer and retiring with a gold watch is something out of our 1960s and 1970s past. Number one, a lot of corporations don't value a 30-year employee the way they used to. And number two, we've all figured out that it's a lot more fun to go skiing when you're 40 than when you're 70. So let's talk about retiring early and often. There's a few things in our coaching program that we'll talk about. One thing is a defined benefit plan. This is free money. I think if you want to retire and get out with a pension, you could save it all up yourself, put your money aside. That's what society wants you to believe now. Since the passage of ERISA in 1974, and they created the IRA and the 401k, everyone wants you to save your money to pay for your retirement. But I'm here to tell you that you can get free money, F-R-E-E, free money, right? And that's what a defined benefit pension is. You do some time at an employer, and even if you leave, once you're vested, that means they're going to pay you money in retirement. Now, let me just tell you how short it can be. In fact, we looked up the recent numbers now because a lot of unions and other places have 10-year vesting. But like, for instance, you can vest in as little as 6.4 years to 6.9 years now in public pensions. That is working for a municipality. This is really important for the REO system because with retiring early and often, it means that you do a block of work and then take some time off and play with your family. You do a block of work and then you take some time off and play with your family. This is really important. Now, if you're a single person and you're just taking care of yourself and you're not raising kids, then I do think that you could retire very early and get out and become a barista or a bartender in a Caribbean island. That's a different style of life planning. So let me tell you what I did. And the reason that I feel that I can coach other people to do it, because I did it. A very smart man said one day, don't take advice on how to make $1 million from someone who hasn't made $1 million. So here's my schedule, just so that you can kind of get your head around what REO means. First, I worked from 24 to 34. At 34, I left that company. I did 10-year vesting. I knew the day I left, I was going to get a pension when I was 60 years old. Okay? I went off, I took a few years. I was 34 years old. I had gotten married, I had a new baby, I played like crazy, I had a wonderful time, and then I went back to work around 36 to 46, I did another 10 years. Guess what? I got vested in another pension, and I tried a different employer and a different career. Now, in a lot of situations, you can go back after a break. If you've done 10 years with a municipality or a union, you can go back and do another 10-year and jack that first pension up from maybe 30% of retirement to 50 or 60. But frankly, I think retiring early and often is ideal for people who want to get out of a career they didn't like and try something different, or get out of a company they didn't like and try a different company. So between 36 and 46, I did my second break. Then I took a few years off. I bought a cattle ranch in Colorado. A lot of you that follow me know that I love the state of Colorado, and I live part-time in Massachusetts and part-time out there. I found that I was a terrible cattle rancher, but we had a lot of fun. And at that time, my son was born. So now I was a bit older. I had a second child. My wife Linda and I decided it was her first child, and it was maybe a good idea for me to go back to working for a while. I think she wanted me to get out of the house too. To go back and work for a while because I wanted to give every advantage I could, not just to my daughter, but also to my son, which was my life plan. So from 48 to 58, guess what? I went back and worked again and I knocked off a third pension. So now I'm 58 years old. I already have 3 vested pensions and I've already taken 6 years off, right? And during those years when I worked, I still didn't skip taking my 2-month vacations every year. I would take off for skiing in the winter and take off in the summertime. And so I had, by the time I got to 60 years old, I had about a total of 11 years off. And those 11 years were years when we could go horseback riding and hiking and playing and skiing. And by the way, if you're a parent, you know there's a certain age at which the kids don't even want to play with you anymore when they get to be like 14 or 15 and they get their licenses. So I crammed all this young life experience into what we call REO, retiring early and often with vested pensions. Now I have a few parts of the coaching program on REO that are important. And one thing is, if you have a family and you're planning an early retirement, medical cost is a really big expense. Imagine paying for your own medical care for your family from say 35 to 65. That could be as much as $750,000. Now, what I think is a magic of COBRA, C-O-B-R-A, COBRA, is that you can leave an employer even after a short term. If you're with them for 5 or 6 years in one of these municipalities and you get vested, you can stay on their plan for 18 months minimum to as much as 36 months in most cases, and pay two things: corporate rate medical insurance, and never have to requalify medically. So if you've had some unfortunate things in your life, you've had some what we call pre-existing conditions, you don't have to worry about that. Now, we have some people in our family that have had cystic fibrosis, MS, all kinds of different things. You certainly don't want to put them through a period of time with no medical insurance. Also, no matter how well you plan, bad things happen. Death, divorce, sickness, bankruptcy. So you need to be very insured and very careful. So in the REO coaching program, we talk a lot about locking down guaranteed pensions. I have 3 pensions into which I paid nothing. 0. Those 3 pensions were all free money. Now also in the REO coaching program, we talk about identifying the top 10 companies that have a 100% 401k match. So if you want to build up money for retirement, that's great. If you're putting $20,000 away and your employer's putting $20,000 away, that is a huge jack up to your savings. So in our coaching program, it's about how to get to your older ages, that's 60 to 65 years old, with plenty of money, but not having missed out on those first 30, 40 years of child rearing and paying for educations. I went back again, by the way, at 60 years old, built a business I just sold at 73 years old, had a great time, and it was a completely different experience than what I did in my 20s and 30s. So it gives you an opportunity also to do different things. And now I'm doing this education and entertainment thing for other people because I enjoy doing this REO mentoring. Because if we can help you get out early and often and have a lot of fun with your family and be economically smart and also insured, covered, and well planned out, that's kind of the science of living a great financial life. Now, retirement's different for everybody. Again, in my book on smart financial longevity, we plan to live to 100. So if you get out at 60 years old, you're going to have a 40-year retirement. So you need to plan wisely around how much your money is going to last. So part of our coaching program on retire early and often is not just getting the best pension, keeping medical, getting the best 401k match. It's also searching out the companies that sometimes pay medical for life. If you're a military retiree, if you're a municipal retiree, if you're a classic double dipper, you can do one of these 3 retirements and get not only a pension, like a lot of educators get also medical coverage for life as a part of their retirement plan. This has a huge financial value. Every, $20,000 in retirement looks like a pool of $400,000 or $500,000. So if you can get a couple of pensions and also get a maximum amount of Social Security, right? This is the right way to plan your retirement. Now, there's a lot to talk about if you're going to be doing a retire early and often, whether you're a young person just starting or you're doing it midlife. So I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel, send me questions. I'd be happy to help you, give you a little bit of help on this, especially if you're a person that hates your job. Don't stay in a job you hate. some soul-sucking, kind of behavior every day. It's really bad for you. It's bad for your family. And so let me help you get out of a job situation you don't like and get into a really rewarding retirement planning system called Retiring Early and Often, and have a much more rewarding work-life balance for the next 25 years of your life. So I'm Paul Mauro, and this is Smart Financial. And planning out a REO retirement is just part of the art of being smart.